I guess I'll just give it like a quick history. First of all, thank everybody for being a part of this show. This is the show of healing, as we already know from previous shows, and we're very blessed that our host invited me. Of all people, I'm considered like a controversial figure in some aspects, but just a little bit about me. I'm Vince Bryant. Um, my full name is Leonardo Vince Bryant. I was named after Leonardo da Vinci. I'm Leonardo Vince, and I was born in San Antonio, Texas. Moved from San Antonio to Houston, to the north side, raised on the north side of H Town, Shady Lane, Parker Square, Jensen. Um, I graduated from Barbara Jordan High School, 1991, class of 1991. Um, After that, I went to I actually got a job. Then I stopped working. Then I went into the United States Navy. After completing my time in the Navy, then I joined the Marine Corps. And I don't know if you're ready to touch on that part yet, but
Well, I
just
want to
let it
know
still be standing.
what made you even go there. You know what I'm saying? Into the military.
You know, I always was fond of a military lifestyle. From a child on up, I used to beg my mother to buy me the bag of army toys, the little army men, and from there, I developed a love for structure. Especially on top of my parents, we came out of the Pentecostal um, church, and I always said, man, one day I want to be in the military, and the only reason I went to the Navy first because they was the only ones that showed up in my school. Actually, it was them in the army, and I know I didn't want to be in the army because I was already turned off by Army ROTC and
Mm.
Barbara Jordan. So I said, nah, I ain't. So the next thing, I jumped into the Navy, and I went
Uh-oh.
into the Navy Reserves, and from there I got out, came to Houston, and got another good job. Got tired of that. I say, nah, I want to go back in the military. I say, but this time I want to go to the Marine Corps. I want to go to a branch that's known for fighting and discipline. And
Mm. Did you
that's
feel like
that's
you needed discipline?
nah. I really didn't need it. Um, but that was the reason I joined the reserves because I had a good job, but I always wanted to maintain a military structure, an element,
Mm.
something in me just yearned for a military lifestyle. You know,
Mm.
um, I did my thing out in the streets, and but the streets, it gets played out after a while, and
Yeah.
I say, man, you know what? I want to do something different, and I want to be able to at least have that under my wing whenever I go into the job market, because that's the first thing they look at. What did you do? As soon as they see military, it's a whole different conversation.
Mm.
So during the course of my time in the Marine Corps, I end up being deployed to Iraq twice. So I'm sure we're gonna probably get later on get into that too.
Mm-hmm. And you were prepared for that.
Prepare for what the
Just
military.
just knowing that you would probably get deployed. Was your heart ready for that?
So um, one thing is Marines, all Marines, we are fighters by nature. We know that at some point there's a slight chance that you may go into combat. Then again, you got people in the military, in the Marine Corps, that's been in the Marine Corps 20 years, ain't never seen war.
Mm.
It's just a chance that you take. So I ended up in a reserve unit that was an infantry unit as well. So um, when our ticket got pulled, guess what? I'm a part of that. So it was definitely an experience. I'm sure you've seen the documentary and seen some things, but
Yeah.
it was definitely an experience that I would never forget. We don't know how blessed we are being in America. We talk a lot of trash, but we really don't know what it's like to be in a war type environment. On top of the fact, I'm from the streets. I was warring in the streets and warring overseas, so I didn't seen it from both sides, and just blessed to still be standing by the grace of God. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how deep you want to go into my experiences
Yeah, I
in
want to go deep.
combat.
I want to go deep to when you found out you had to go. What was going on in your mind?
So at that time, soon as we got the call from DC that our unit was getting deployed, I saw the message. I was one of the ones who intercepted the message when it first came down. Because anytime something come down to the unit, it goes to the officers and then it goes through the administrative piece. At that time, I was working in the administrative area of the Marine Corps. Um, so as soon as we found out, I told my superiors I want to go in before everybody else go in. So they have a thing called advance party. Advance party are the Marines who go in before the actual unit gets there. So
Mm,
we go and scope everything out before and set up everything before the actual unit get there to handle business. So
mm,
I did that twice. I volunteered twice to go in before my unit. So
mm.
I
Any
was
reason why?
one thing about me, I've always been a leader from the front. I'm not gonna throw my Marines into something uh that I could prevent. If I can see something ahead of time before they get into country, and what I mean get into country, get into a combat environment, then as a leader, I'm gonna lead you from the front. So if anything happens, it happens to me first before it happens to you and your family. See,
Mm,
that's some of the that's a I don't want to say it's a military thing, but that's a leadership thing. So
mm,
till this day, my Marines respect me. Those that are still around, they still respect me because I led from the front. And
mm,
um, um, you know, my life is an example. I always believe you lead from the front. Don't tell anybody to do something that you're not doing. Even in recovery and going through what we're going through, I can share my experiences with folks because I've been through it. You
mm.
understand what I'm saying? I can't tell nobody about, go to therapy if I hadn't been through it.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I guess to answer your question, uh, I was excited to go, but it was a whole nother story as soon as we stepped in Iraq.
Yeah, so I'm finna ask you when you got there,
Yeah.
what did you see?
So I'm green. The first time when I got there, um, and bear with me because from time to time I can fade off. If you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
Um, when we first got there the first time, I've been in Iraq twice, but the first time we got there, we landed in Al Assad, the air base, and then from there we convoyed to the area that we were in. So I was actually stationed outside of the city that we was going to actually attack.
Mm,
So I was on what they call a FOB, FOB. This stands for Forward Operating Base. So the first day we got there, now take mine. I ain't never been in war. I was trained for it. But the first day we got there, as soon as they dropped us off, I kept hearing in my mind, I'm like, damn, what the hell is this? And I
yeah.
just happened to look to the right and I see splashes in the sand, not knowing later um, that was what they call mortars. So the enemy knew that we were coming.
Mm,
So they gave us what we call a welcome party and showing you, hey, well, we know y'all here, so we ready to get down now.
mm,
So actually, I kind of talk a little bit about it in the um, in the documentary,
mm-hmm.
and so I'm standing there like watching this, and I see Marines running, some running to the top of the building, trying to suppress fire on the enemy, and I'm just standing there like, damn, I'm really in this, man. And a Marine, it was a Marine that ran by me. He was like, he said, "What the f you doing, man? Get in the building." So right then, I took off with everybody else, and I'm like, okay. So while I'm standing in that building, I'm like, man, I'm really in this thing. This is it's really on now. So every day after that, we were in the battle every day after that. So what I
Mm.
mean by that, we got attacked every day, not just one day, every day till it was time for me to come back to H Town. Every day we got hit up. So just imagine getting shot at, and I ain't talking about with no pellet gun like these dudes. We talking about mortars. If a
Mm.
mortar hits you, they won't find you. They'll find pieces of you. This is what the enemy was dealing with us. Uh, uh, on my first tour. So it was so much stuff. I mean, my job was to train. I was sent there to train the Iraqi National Guard so they can stand up and be an army so we can get back to H Town. That was my
Mhm.
job, to train them so they can be an army to stand up for themselves. You
Mm.
know, on TV, we always hear, oh, they just trying to be the big occupiers. Man, we ain't care nothing about y'all country, man. We want to get over there to help y'all so we can get back to our family. So that was my job, to train the Iraqi National Guard. But in the course of training, we got attacked daily.
Mm.
I mean, I came acquainted with death real quick,
Wow.
to the point of where, let me just put it this way: people, they really don't understand the Marine Corps. You can join the Marine Corps to be work in the post office, administration of airplanes, but all Marines, no matter what their job is, they are all trained riflemen. That's our first job.
Mm.
So if you work in the post office as a Marine, well, you're gonna go out and get some. If you know what I mean, you're gonna put in some work, and then after that, after you kill the enemy, you're gonna come back and pass out mail like it's nothing.
Wow.
So I mean, um, I took on a certain type of attitude, and I became friends with death.
Mm.
There was a time, and I'll just share this real briefly. There was a time where the unit I was with, they had killed insurgent, a terrorist, so-called terrorist, as they say. So one thing as Marines, if we kill your child and he a terrorist, well, we're gonna reach out to the family and let them know, hey, look, we killed your son, so you need to come get him. Because in Muslim tradition, they love burying their own in a certain type of manner. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So
Mhm.
so we contacted one family and they said they not coming to get their son. So my unit, with the guys I was with, we had to turn around and bury the guy in the sand. So 2 weeks later, the family reaches back out to us, said they want him now. So
Mm.
I remember how it was when I put him in the ground. So by that time, my mind is gone. So after we dug him back up, I told one of the Iraqi, what was it? One of the Iraqi soldiers, I say, unzip the body bag. So I remember how he looked when we put him in the ground in a body bag.
Uh-huh.
So I told him, your mind turns into a sick position. Let me put it that way. So I told him to open the bag after we took him back out the ground. And I don't even want to tell you what I saw,
Mm.
showing you what I was beginning to turn into. We was aching to kill somebody. We felt like, hey, we coming out Iraq. If we can't kill somebody, what the hell we doing here?
Mm. That's what you turn to.
Yeah, that's what I turned into, somebody who was lusting to kill.
Wow.
And one mind, was like, damn, we here to help these people, but even some of the Iraqi people, they were just taking America's money, and you're not standing up for your people. Instead, you allowing the Marines to fight for you. And this your damn country. Excuse my language.
Uh-huh.
This is your
Uh-huh.
country. So they rather
Mhm.
sacrifice us
Mhm.
than them stand up for themselves. So by that time, I was like, okay, to hell with this. So we gonna sacrifice some of y'all. And that's
Mm.
that's that's just I don't want to get too deep into it, but Yeah,
Mm.
that's just and that's just the first tour in Iraq. I mean, we could be all day talking about that experience, but I turned into somebody now. You know, now looking at it now, I turned into somebody that I never thought I would be, and the effects of that followed me back home to H Town. Yeah.
And that's what was those effects?
Well, to me, I became heartless.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, I turned into, um, let's put it this way. Before I left, I was the guy to make everybody laugh and lift their spirit. But when I got back, these are the stories that I hear that I was just out of control. Meaning, um, you know, people come by my house and I let them in. I got weapons everywhere, money
Mm.
all over the table. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
just still thinking I'm in war mode.
Mm.
Um, Even now, from time to time, I still have, I revert back to that type of thinking because, I tell myself I'm not going to be caught slipping on no means. But
Mm.
but therapy helps. You know, it used to be a time where I used to check my doors like 5, 6 times a day. Now it's down to like three, thanks to
Was
therapy.
checking the doors to see if somebody behind there.
I keep hearing things because let me say this. Whether I done it, I gotta watch how I say this. Whether I done it intentionally or not, I played part in a lot of people lives being lost,
Mm.
enemies' lives. I'm not
Mm.
not innocent folks.
Mm-hmm.
They fought for what they believe in. We handled our business, and sometimes I think that at some point, you know, and it could be my mind just saying this, but I don't want to be caught slipping. So I always check every little thing. Like even where I'm at right now, I'm out in the middle of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
I moved out of Houston because it was just too unsecure for me, and it was just I saw myself going back into the old me. So I guess to get back to the point that I'm making is that I still have what they call in mental health re-experiencing thoughts.
Mm.
Um, Certain things like trigger me off. You understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? Like kids laughing, that
Mm-hmm.
triggers me off because it reminds me of the kids when we were on convoy in Iraq. They used to run up to us asking for candy and asking for hearing kids laugh. I automatically think about Iraq. Um, like even right now, my oldest, she's here with me right now. She can kind of recognize some of the signs now. Um, but I believe I'm a lot better thanks to therapy. I'm not gonna sit up here and lie. I done been through like 3, 4 therapies, and they've
Mm-hmm.
helped me tremendously. Um, but I'm not gonna sit up here on your show and lie like I'm just 100% fixed
Yeah.
because there was some things that I learned as a Marine that can protect us in this day and time. You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Even with the
Yeah.
flood and all that kind of stuff. I mean, not the flood, but the way the weather is right now. See, this ain't nothing to us because we didn't been through worse. I didn't been through cold weather training and mountain training in the mountains and all that. This is nothing, but to the average civilian that haven't dealt with that,
Mm-hmm.
it's a big deal. But yeah, it's so much, Shay. I'm just glad and very thankful for the prayers of the righteous.
Yeah. Now on the documentary,
Yeah.
you were saying that your mother would tell your kids don't do that,
Mm.
because it might trigger your fault. What
Yeah.
what kind of stuff can your own kids do to trigger
So
you?
so my mother that came from I remember now. Yeah, I was at my mother's house and my daughter, I think matter of fact, this one she I think it was her or my other second oldest. They were running to me to hug me because they was happy to see me. And my mother yelled out, "Hey, don't run to your daddy like that." Well, she's still thinking from the 70s because my uncle as a Vietnam veteran, and she remember what he dealt with when he came back and how he was acting.
Mhm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They didn't understand, back then they called it flashbacks and shell shock and all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
Today it's PTSD, but um, yeah, she told my kids, hey, don't run at your daddy like that, because she was probably under the impression that I was going to snap and do something to them. When
Mm.
in reality, my children are my only lifeline. If anything that kept me peaceful is my children. Even to this day, my three
Mhm.
daughters, that's the
Mhm.
only thing that can keep me focused.
Mm.
So to answer your question, at that time, um, she was just being, I guess she was still in the mindset of remembering how my uncle was when he came home from Vietnam.
Mhm.
Uh, and the Vietnam veterans, man, I tip my hat off to them brothers, man, because they dealt with so much. What we get now as veterans, they didn't get half of what we get now as veterans. Everything that we have right now is old. That look like my daughter on here just clicked. Hey, Bryant. Everything that we have right now is old to the Vietnam veterans and the veterans who came before, because they didn't they
Yeah.
didn't have therapies and all these kind of things like we have today.
Mhm.
So yeah, to answer your question, that's what that was about. I think she was just really being cautious because my mother saw a change in me. Uh, Obviously, your mother gonna see more than anybody.
Yeah. So
You
what
know,
happened to make you say, you know what? I need to go get some therapy.
what really happened was I don't think it was just like one specific situation. I think one day maybe I was just sitting down. I'm like, man, ain't why are these people so scared of me?
Mm.
You know, um, you know, it was a different type of scare this time because people was, I could say it because God delivered me from that street life, but people was kind of terrified then, but it was a different type of scare this time,
Mm.
you know, and um, something just said, hey man, oh I know what it was. One of my Marines who had served with me told me, man, he said Sergeant Bryant, because that was my rank sergeant. Um,
All right,
he
Sarge.
say, what'd you say?
I say, all right, Sarge.
Oh yeah. Um, he said, I think you need to go get some, go to the VA and get help. I'm like, a VA for what?
Mm.
So I'm like, I stopped for a minute. I'm like, well, if this Marine who I trained telling me I need to go get some help, then I must be having some kind of problem. Because in the Marine Corps and really in the military, they tell you suck it up, get over it. That's just what it is. So that became the norm for me.
Mm.
So the day he told me that, um, I went and found the VA. I didn't even know the VA was across the street from the unit I was attached to on OST. They had the VA right across the street, and I didn't even know it. That's how green I was. So I checked myself in um, to the VA. They assigned me a primary care provider. Then they did a mental health assessment.
Mm.
After they did a mental health assessment, they gave me a mental health provider. So when I sat down with that mental health provider, they did a session with me, and from that session, they diagnosed me not just with PTSD but chronic PTSD.
Mm.
So when they told me that, I was kind of in denial, and I talk a little bit about this on the documentary.
Mhm.
Like, man, there ain't nothing wrong with me. It's y'all little civilians, y'all soft. That's that's just what my mind was saying.
Mhm.
Nah, there ain't nothing wrong with me. Y'all just need to move faster, this and that. So I was judging everything on military terms, you
Mm.
know. So later on, I started submitting to the therapy. I went through uh, numerous amount of therapy, but there's two therapies that stick out right now that I can remember. One is called CPT. CPT stands for Cognitive Processing Therapy,
Mhm.
which is a powerful therapy. It it actually, how I want to say, they give you what is called an ABC chart. You put your situation into that ABC chart to show you where your thinking is off.
Mm.
That's that's really what that was about.
Mm.
The second one was called PE. It's called prolonged exposure. Prolonged exposure, it puts you right back in the situation, the trauma related situation, in order to bring you out of it. You might say to yourself, you know, why put you in that situation when you're trying to get away from it? Well, guess what? That's more of a reason to put you in it because you didn't overcome it properly the first time.
Come on now. That's a word.
So that's prolonged exposure. Then the other one I went through is called GBET. It stands for group based exposure therapy, and it's just a group form of what I just explained to you. Um, right now, I'm involved in a new therapy called WETS. It stands for Writing Effective Training. So you write your trauma out, and the
Mm.
goal of that is to write it out so you can go and get it out your system to the point of where you write it, you write it, you write it to the point you get tired of talking about it.
Mm.
So
So
that's
that's
the
what you
therapy.
do.
That's the therapy I'm going through right now. And
Mm.
what I do, I share my experiences with other veterans to encourage them to get in it too.
Mm-hmm. So what have you seen? What change? What positive change have you seen from those therapies that you went to
Me
mentally?
talk, me talking to you. That's one.
Wow. And you couldn't
'Cause
do that.
for a while, and again, I'm repeating some of the stuff that's on the documentary that I said. For a while,
I
I
want
wouldn't
you
even talk.
to.
I wouldn't even talk to nobody. I didn't care about talking to nobody. Either y'all get it or you don't. Now I'm starting to open up because I see that my story is encouraging others to go and get help.
Mm.
You know, you know, they rather hear it from me
Mm-hmm.
than a psychologist. You would think, well, dang man, that's a psychologist. That's the degreed individual. No, they rather hear it from somebody who has been through it, so they won't feel like they're just talking to a college student or a
Mm.
doctor. You
Yeah.
know, because a lot of these, especially young veterans, they get out, man. Y'all went to school, man. What you gonna tell me about war?
Mm.
That's their mentality when they come out of the military. So I just take my experiences and try to encourage others to get help. I'm a lot better. I'm able to talk. I'm able to open up. I'm back into my music again. Um, just involved in helping homeless veterans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, homelessness is a mental illness also. You know, that's a
Mm.
subject for another time. But I'm taking my story on the road to help others. You know,
What does chronic PTSD look like?
what does it
Because
look
you said
like?
you was in denial, so it's a lot of people that might be suffering from PTSD and don't know it.
Okay,
So what do it look like?
so PTSD, for those of you that's watching this, PTSD stands for post traumatic stress disorder. Before I answer that question, I want to kill something that people think this is about. I'm gonna tell you what it's not about. People think PTSD comes from somebody going to war. It ain't got nothing to do with war.
Yeah.
You, you can experience something so traumatic to where man, you got me thinking about the documentary again. Those of y'all that's watching this, maybe she can put up the link. I want y'all to go see the documentary too.
Oh, please watch it. I didn't know it was available.
The, PTSD is laced in trauma. You may have experienced something over and over again in your mind. It's a constant reminder. Now, PTSD is one thing, but when you have chronic, that means that's all you think about. It just goes on and on and on and on and on until you stop it at some point or get help for it. For instance, we have a lot of women, military women and civilians who deal with something that's called MST. So what is MST? MST is military sexual trauma. Men go through that too. It ain't just a woman thing. Rape, molestations, all kind of stuff can lead to post-traumatic stress disorder because you constantly thinking that you're gonna be accosted by this person who messed with you in a way that they weren't supposed to. That's PTSD.
Mm.
Constantly being reminded. You can't give a relationship a chance because you're constantly reminded about what somebody else did to you when it's really not fair, but that's something you got to overcome.
Mm.
So chronic is just constantly you living in that moment. You living everything you do got to be this way, this way, this way, this way, this way. Okay, okay. He looking at me this way. Okay, she looking at me. And in reality, that may not even be happening, but your mind. That's what I'm saying. This whole thing is about redeveloping your mind.
Mm.
The scripture has taught us. Now we go into scripture. Let me throw this in. The scripture has taught us to let this mind be in you, which is also in Christ Jesus. So guess what? Now we got to look at what kind of mind did Christ have. Why are
Mm.
we not operating in that mind?
Mm. Yeah.
I'm not gonna get started.
You need to
So
get started.
so we got to go through these different things in order to have a testimony on the other side. Do we got some questions? I don't know if you're
I
saying
see
somebody's
one.
saying something. Knowing all the things you know, would you advise someone to go to the military? Knowing everything. Well, me personally, this is me speaking. I think everybody at some point should have a military experience. Let me put it that way. The United States is the only country that doesn't require its citizens to at least serve 2 years in the military. If you look at all these other countries, they're a lot more structured than us because they have at some point some type of military element. Now, going back to the question, I don't want nobody to experience what I've experienced. And this is just one story. It's people that have I've seen some real ugly things and experienced some things. But I wouldn't wish that you know on nobody. You really just taking a chance. If you remember what I mentioned earlier, I said there are people who have been in the military 20 some years, ain't never seen no war.
Mm-hmm.
I I just got randomly chose. So that's
Mm.
a chance you take. Just like going to work, that's a chance you take. But I will say this: I think at some point everybody should have some type of military embodiment or military training, whether it's in the military or not. Now, I will say this: I wouldn't want anybody to go through what I went through. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I tell you I became acquainted with death, death became a friend of mine to the point of where uh, um, if I couldn't be involved in something that was death oriented, then I felt that I wasn't nothing. So
Mm.
to the sister that asked the question, let me just say this: I believe that everybody should have some type of military, uh, structure. Uh, at this time, and I know this is the question she really trying to ask. Do I really? At this time, I wouldn't encourage anybody um, to be in the military at this point until we can, um, as a country, get ourselves together. Now, please be advised: we have no right to knock those who go and serve. You have no right to do that because if you're not gonna do it, please keep your mouth shut about those who do serve,
Yeah.
because we living off the backs of what other folks have done. See,
Yeah.
it's so easy for us in America to say what we wouldn't do. but you don't know how it is to have a missile shot through your house. I'm not talking about all this foolishness in the hood, a 9 millimeter and a gauge. That ain't nothing. We don't know how it is to have a missile shot through your house. There are
Yeah.
people right now while you are sleeping who are protecting you, whether you agree with them or not. Don't
Wow.
disrespect anybody who has served or is currently serving in the military. If you don't understand it, just be quiet. But I
Yeah.
will tell you this, you are benefiting off the backs of those who are serving right now, whether you agree or not.
Yeah.
There are people who are protecting us and making sure that certain things are in place for us to be protected when we go to sleep at night. So
Mm.
I know I went
Yeah.
off on a tangent,
Yeah.
but
That's all right.
it just kind of, I be hearing little, people be saying, "Oh man, I wouldn't go fight for the white man," but you wearing the white man's clothes,
Yeah.
but you buying his products,
Yeah.
you following his agenda on this side,
Mm-hmm.
the white man's army. Man, this ain't the '70s, man. This man, black folks are involved in every aspect in life.
Yeah.
Because I be hearing, I used to hear all them comments. Oh man, I wouldn't fight for the white man. I
Yeah.
remember. Let me say this too. My homeboys, who I used to hustle with, um, I'm from Shady Lane, by the way, Parker Square. I used to hustle with. When I got back home, them dudes said, "Man, I wish I would." I can show you a text. One of my homeboys just got out the penitentiary. Said, "Man, I wish I would have listened to you back then and did what you did."
Mm.
These are the same dudes, my homeboys, that was talking
Yeah.
about, oh man, you was making all that money in the drug game and then you go fight for the white man. Fight for the white man. Man,
Yeah.
you benefiting off of what we do. And
Yeah.
and if you look at this, let me say this too. Some of the main ones that's talking that you can't even qualify to get in the military. What y'all think we dummies?
Yeah.
You got to take a test and you have to qualify to even get in.
Wow.
It ain't no dummies serving in the military. You
Yeah.
think they're gonna put dummies on $1 million equipment? I'm just
Yeah.
throwing that out.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, let me calm down a little. To answer your question, I think everybody should have some type of military background, but at the end of it, make sure it's followed by education.
Yeah.
That's what I'm right now. That's what I'm pressing for. Education.
Yeah.
Educate yourself so you can help somebody else and help yourself out of the condition that we in right now.
Yeah.
I am a revolutionary too. That's another side. I don't know if we're
Uh-oh.
gonna get into
I don't
that.
know, Lord. But I have a question that came to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you remember the moment that you began to feel again? Because you was numb when you came.
Oh,
What happened when you began to feel again?
can you expand a little bit more on the
As
field?
far as, you learn how to suppress
Hmm.
emotions. You was numb.
Okay,
So in therapy, don't you have to get
I
acquainted,
got you.
get back in touch with?
Hmm. I got you. So I started therapy. I got out. Excuse me. I got out of the military in 2009. I started therapy in 2000. I'm saying 2009, in 2012. That's when so maybe 2 years after that, I started winding down and started, okay, now I'm getting back to me.
Mm,
I'm not 100% where I need to be, but I'm that numbness or not giving a damn, excuse my language,
yeah.
not caring. Now I'm starting to care again.
Mm,
Now I'm starting to be a little bit more sensitive to people's feelings. Now
mm,
I'm trying not to judge everybody on military standards.
mm-hmm.
Now I'm um, seeing the big picture. Maybe I am um, being a little too harsh. Because I'm
Mm,
telling you, Shay, I was, man, it was so. I mean, people would drop trash on the ground, and I just go off on them. Man, pick that up, man. Where you think
Oh
you at?
yeah, just
Yeah,
going in. Want folk to just.
because I mean, in the military, you're not gonna drop no trash and just leave it. I mean, but I was so caught up, you know, at that time. I'm just giving you a small example of
Yeah.
how it was, but so I would say maybe 2 or 3 years after therapy, then I started the numbness started kind of wearing off a little bit, you know.
Mm.
But I stay in therapy. I have to stay in something because I'm not trying to go back to the old me, like
Mm.
what I turned into. Because that person, um, it was heartless. You know,
Mm.
that person didn't care. That person would go to a funeral home and sleep in a casket with a dead body like it was nothing.
Mm.
That
So
person.
how does a person? Were you able to have a relationship?
Say that's another thing. I got 3 daughters from 3 different relationships. I couldn't keep a relationship. Um, Believe it or not, I'm not in a relationship now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and I think that's because it's just me, and that's another thing. When you gone, you start developing you stop trusting folks. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying? Because I used to see this. I used to see soldiers and Marines. They getting letters from home that their wives and girlfriends and left them. And I would say to myself, "Dang, why they wait till they get in country, fighting for the country, and then they turn on their husband?"
Mm-hmm.
So I was thinking like, okay, that same thing gonna happen to me, and um, couldn't keep a relationship, you know,
Because you didn't trust them.
I didn't trust them, but I also didn't trust myself.
To
I
do
didn't
what?
trust myself to stay focused on just that one person.
Mm.
And this might sound odd, but I'm gonna tell you like this: when I came back from war, I I was like, man, I just survived all of this, so man, I do whatever I want to. That's the
Mm.
first time I went to war. The second time I came back, I'm like, man, I'm invincible now. So I'm
Mm.
I'm enjoying my life.
Mm.
I took care of my children, all that, and their mothers, but my mom was just drifting everywhere. It was like I was judging them on military standards too. Oh, okay, she like this.
Mm.
Oh, okay. And it got to the point to where it probably put me in the situation I am right now, still single.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure um there's somebody out there, but it'll
Mm-hmm.
come. The scripture saying what in due season.
Yeah, yeah. So how did you
But
come
yeah,
to
yeah,
that
yeah.
place of self-love?
When I heard your song, no,
I'm not finna play with you.
man, I love that song. But I love all your songs. But self love came when um, and I just sat down one day and say, you know what? I went through all these experiences. I went through therapy, still in therapy. You know, I'm on the road to peace, and I started talking to myself. What can I do to maintain this peace? When I wake up in the morning, what can I do to maintain this peace? I had to talk to myself. What do you want to do, Vince? Are you
Mm-hmm.
gonna keep are you gonna keep going back and forth with folks? Because mentally you can destroy yourself physically. Because that
Yeah.
that that would yeah, that'll turn into physical health. So I say, you know what? I'm gonna stay in therapy, but I want to get back to loving myself because I've given so much to the world, so much to everybody else, and I've neglected myself in the process.
Wow.
So, and this was recently, maybe last 3 or 4 years, I started thinking like that. So now I'm happy right now. You know, I'm happy. I'm in a better place right now. You know, my children never left me. They was always, daddy's girls, but more so I'm just happy because I have a different perspective on life. When I get up now, I have a routine. I get up,
Mm.
get my coffee, go read a book, then get my day going. Then after I work from home also. So when I'm done with that, then I go automatically, I go back and meditate and do yoga. I have a plan now. I believe in technique. That's another thing that I went through also at the VA, meditation. So
Mm-hmm.
I learned the art of meditation. And when it looks like I'm about to go there, I just stop, just bring myself down.
Mm-hmm.
We call that in the church the spirit. Before you know it, now I'm just chilling. Okay, let me utilize the tools that I've learned. See, I have to tell myself, okay,
Yeah.
don't go there. Use the tools you've learned because it'll take a
Yeah.
split second and you can go from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Let me stop. Okay, I'm gonna use this tool today. When it look when it look like somebody's trying to test me, in reality, we don't know what that person has gone through before they even said something to you. So we can't automatically assume they're trying to just mess with you.
Mm-hmm.
So I stop for a split second. I meditate, and then sometime I'll just go back and read and take my mind off of anything that looks like it's about to take me there. Your
Mm.
song, I got to get back to this song again. I know you get tired of Shay. I know you get tired of hearing it, but that song was a blessing. You just don't know. I
Thank
play that
you.
song over and over again because it's talking about my story. Yes, it's your story, but it's talking about my story and the story of others who have gone through darkness into light.
Yeah.
There is, if nobody understand anything I'm talking about today, there is hope on the
Come
other
on.
side.
Come on now.
There is life. There is happiness on the other side. But you
Wow.
got to speak deliverance. Speak it into existence. I'm not going to deal with this no more.
Yeah.
And you got to get to a point where you hate dealing with foolishness so much till you make the change.
Come on now.
Sometimes we say, okay, uh, I want to lead a relationship, but no, if it's damaging you, make the choice and get away. I was getting so bombarded in Houston. I said, man, you know what? I got to go.
Yeah.
I looked at my account. I said, oh man, I got money. I can go move today.
Yeah.
I went and put my money on my new place, waited till my lease was up, and moved to where I'm at right now. But I made the point of doing it. Sometimes when you have a good heart, people can use you,
Yeah.
and you get so used to being used to the point you don't see past being used.
Yeah.
The
That's it.
scripture has taught us to lay aside every weight,
Yeah.
not just one weight, every weight
Yeah.
that so easily besets you.
Come on now.
I laid aside those weights. I'm
Yeah.
living good. I'm living good right now. I may not be a millionaire, but I'm living good. I got food, my kids, all of them, they taken care of. My mother, when she comes over here, she looks like, oh my God, the kind of peace. When I have people come over here that work in the house, they tell my landlady, man, there's something about this house. I'm walking into peace.
Come on
So
now.
guess what? When you take on that peace, it bounces off to people around you.
Come on
That
now.
glow. You looking at a cancer survivor. You're looking at somebody that's been shot in the streets.
Come on.
I don't even look 50 years old, about to be 50 years old, because I laid aside every weight.
Come on now.
'Cause I laid aside every weight. 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 'Cause I laid aside And to those of y'all that are listening to this, you do not have to tolerate ongoing abuse. You don't.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody say, oh, well, oh, you just got to put up. No, you don't.
Yeah.
Speak life into your situation.
Mm.
Self love. This is what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Self love. The self love journey. That's what this is about.
Yeah.
Man, let
That's
me
right.
stop, man. I didn't come on here to preach.
You're right. I always equate, you probably heard me say this in my other shows and in my book, us to a flower, and I had came to a place where I had withered. I wasn't getting no water, I wasn't getting no sunlight. And
Hmm.
I had to get to some sunlight. I had to get to some water. And when I got to that
Yeah.
water, when I got to that sunlight, I flourished. I flourished.
Woo,
I got
man.
off the anxiety medication. I got off. The panic attack stopped.
Mm.
It's something about what you said, laying aside every weight, even if you got to leave everything.
Teach. Go ahead.
You're right about that. You speaking the
You just
word.
look at that. Look at what you said, Shay. You had to get that water. Now
Yeah.
check this out. The scripture has taught us, oh, taste and see,
Yeah.
see
Yeah.
that the Lord is good.
Yeah.
Blessed is the man that what?
Walk.
Trusts in him and
Yeah.
walks with him.
Yeah.
You have to taste. I'm telling you, there's more to life than all this foolishness.
You right.
We get so bombarded by, oh, Ted Cruz went to Mexico. What does that got to do with you and your salvation?
Yeah. I can hear
Man,
my
let me
mama laughing
stop.
at
Let
that.
me stop.
You right. But that's powerful. And I just so happy to see, where you are now. What are you helping the veterans do? Because you say you a veteran
Yeah,
activist. What
yeah,
what
yeah.
is that?
I'm a veteran activist, and I'm also a veteran advocate. Right now, my job right now is to help the homeless population, veterans. I work right now for Veterans Affairs,
Mm-hmm.
uh, in what they call HCHV. That just stands for Healthcare for Homeless Veterans. So everything that I've gone through, all the therapies, my job is to share that with other veterans who are in the homeless population to help them out of their situation. I'm a support what they call peer support. I'm supporting you. Um, I you think we going through? Think about you know folks who have nothing, who are under these bridges,
Mm-hmm.
who have no, especially during this cold and all this here. So my job is to inspire them and to share elements of my own recovery. I give um, support groups from Monday through Friday. Normally I have about 15, 20 guys a day that
Wow.
God bless me and our facilitators to share experiences. And we have a tight knit group of veterans who have been, man, even before COVID, we've been locked in and we're helping one another and we're taking this same movement to help the community. So
Mm.
that's what I do. I share my experiences. Um, um, it's still is it's a what they call a mental health provider. That's what I am.
Mm-hmm.
But I do it as a peer, and it's a beautiful thing, for me to sit down and share my experience to encourage somebody else to get help.
Now the ones that need help are those the ones that had the war experience, or is it those that haven't?
No, it ain't just about war. Just,
Mm.
I want to make sure I understand your question. You want to know if what
The
again?
the guys that you helping on
Okay,
Monday?
yeah.
Yeah.
The guy. I have a mixed crowd. I got guys from the Vietnam War. I got guys from my time, Persian Gulf, Iraq, Afghanistan, and then I have some guys who just was in the military that never went to war, who suffer from severe depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia. I got all those guys.
Mm.
and some of them are homeless and some of them are not.
Mm.
Yep.
So if somebody watching this dealing with, you know, PTSD, what do they need to do? Go to the VA and
Well, if you're watching this, you can reach out to me and I can take it from there.
mm,
Reach out to me and I can get you where you need to get some help. Also, um, those of you that's hearing this right now that are, you know, having some issues, call the crisis line. The crisis line are trained professionals that will help you. Do
mm.
not sit in that house and isolate because isolation leads into other things.
Come on now.
Y'all didn't hear what I just said. Isolation leads into other things. If there are people right now who want to help you, get the help. Do not sit in that house going through when there's people right now. I'm not just talking about veterans. I'm talking about humanity. I'm on a humanity mission. That's
Yeah,
what
come
I'm
on
on.
now. Yeah.
And this thing is bigger than just veterans. I'm trying, excuse me, I ain't gonna say trying because I am doing affecting change to affect those who need help, Jesus, he chose to despise and reject it. So that's the ones that everybody gave up on, send them to me.
What
Cause
about the ones that
I'm a
gave up on themselves?
yeah, send them to me. And my track record, and I gotta give praise to God because it's not me. I'm just a vessel. But my track record shows somebody just said something. Yeah, you're right, sister. Mia Bourne, she said, don't isolate. Yeah, don't isolate. Cause that'll lead into other things. If you're going through, talk to somebody that you know is serious about helping you. Set up what they call a RAP plan. WRAP. RAP stands for Wellness and Recovery Action Plan. Write you a plan out. So in the event you have a depressive mode, if you need somebody to act on your behalf, it's already laid out. This is who I want you to contact. This is who I don't want you to contact. We need to put those people on there because some people trigger you off more.
Mm.
Set you up a rap plan. So in the event you get into a mode where you can't think, all you got to do is hand them the paper or put it up or post it somewhere where somebody can get access to it. Because the ultimate goal is to get help. It's so much going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you right now, everything is not bad in the world. There's a lot of good that's going on that they don't advertise.
Mm-hmm.
Let's help each other. We all we got. There is no me without we.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Wow. I love it. I love everything about what you said on tonight.
I
So y'all
love it.
got
I
that.
love it. I love
Now
it.
you gonna spit something for us before we get out of here?
Sister, I just want to be able to sing background for you. If you
Okay,
if you could just
maybe we can
if you
get
could
some
sing,
next time.
I sure wanted to hear some of that acapella from you. Just that
How to
first
put
part.
my energy in everybody else while all alone, neglecting myself.
Uh,
Tired of looking for love in everybody else while all alone, not loving myself. Had people turn it back on me like I was nothing. Stress and gaining weight, feeling like I was nothing. But enough was enough. I asked the Lord to build me up, and He told me that I am somebody. I'm going places. I'm going higher and higher in time. Moving forward into my greatness. 'Cause I deserve it all. I'm giving my
man.
all to loving me. Can't
Woo,
let nothing stop me from loving me. All
woo,
right.
sister. Y'all give those of y'all that's watching. man, if y'all ain't got that single,